Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our, well, not my brand new friend, but your brand new friend, Perry Edwards. We're here to break down Cold-Blooded Volume 1 and 2. How are you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream.
I'm doing great. My name is Perry, your friendly neighborhood mangaka in the making an appearance on Keeping It Geekly.
Yeah, dude. So, what is that? So it's like, what does that mean? You said that, and I have no idea what it means. I'm fairly new to the manga terminologies.
Mangaka is just Japanese for manga artist, and
Okay.
manga just means comics, so comic artist.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. So was manga your first kind of break into creating comics and manga art and writing, or did you have any other projects you worked on previously?
So Cold-Blooded is my first comic, and I have I have made a couple other comics in between, but it's still my first comic, and probably what I'm going to be working on for at least a while in the foreseeable future. I figure I might give it 3 books or so. Now I want to go beyond 3 books, but I figure I might give it 3 books or so before I go and just start something else.
Mm-hmm. So we have Elena and Ichthus over on YouTube stopping in and say good evening and what up, total excellence. Welcome, guys. Welcome on in. If you have any questions for my friend Perry, be sure to drop them. So Perry, Cold-Blooded was your first venture into things. What initially pushed you to take that leap to dive into making manga? What inspirations kind of pushed you to help you kind of just start making your own?
Well, my inspirations are Dragon Ball and Naruto. That's what I grew up watching. And I continue to be inspired by My Hero, One Punch Man, a lot One Piece, new anime I watch and see today. But I had the idea for these characters and scenarios in my head and in my sketchbook since middle school, and I always thought that I wanted to bring it to life through the medium of animation, and I wanted to be an animator and work in the animation industry. And I went to college and graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Computer Animation. But all the while, I was, I'd read manga and The Walking Dead, other comics, and I was leaning more and more towards comics. See, animation is a small industry, and it's hard to get into. And comics is a small industry and hard to get into.
Yeah.
And but the problem with the show is you pitch a show, and you can work on it for years and years, and then it can be picked up and then axed by some executive. And it's just I like comics because it's a single creator bringing their vision of life unperturbed by anyone or anything else, like a network. And I figured this is my best bet. I can make it exactly how I want. If it gets popular enough, maybe one day it will spawn an adaptation, and I'd have my animated adaptation that way.
So were you avid drawer before? What type of art, did you take any classes? When you started this, how did you begin? Did you just go off of, experience reading different mangas?
Yeah, so I learned how to draw before I learned how to write. And so I hold my pencil weird, and I'd trace things, and my grandma had some how to draw books, but I wouldn't necessarily follow them. And as early as kindergarten, and other kids noticed I was good at drawing. And so later on I got more how to draw books and followed those. I took one art class in high school, but the teacher wasn't that good, and then I got some private art lessons. This is when things really stepped up, because then I learned about the elements and principles of art. And then I started taking college classes. I took painting 1, figure drawing, all these other art classes, and it was great. I was also I learned a lot, and and since then, I've took other measures. I love drawing people. I like drawing figures and profiles. I towed a sketchbook around with me, and sketch people. When I was at Sam Houston, Ron Husband, an animator from Disney, had actually visited, and he had a book called Quick Sketching, where you bring a sketchbook with you and you just like draw from life wherever you're at. And the idea, someone could be walking by and you got to sketch them down real quick. I did a lot of that.
Okay. That seems like it would be pretty good practice too, getting like different like perspectives and like different like angling like of like humans and other objects.
Yeah, well, I think the main purpose was to get like loose drawings and capture what you see, because because it's really hard to, because you may see something for a second and suddenly you got to try and retain it and then put it on the paper, especially if someone's moving very fast. So I like draw people sitting down because they don't move that much.
Yeah. So script wise, because you're the artist and the writer, what type of writing, did you have much experience doing any of that, or did you kind of just full send that as well?
Full send. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Like, did you just go for it?
I suppose just go for it. In Japan, like, mangakas make what's called a name, which is essentially the storyboards or draft. Okay. And sometimes this pretty much is a script. Sometimes there's little to no actual writing before. Like I was reading Beastars, and the author of that book was like, she writes down 3 things she wants to happen in the chapter, and then she starts storyboarding. Because
that's a unique way to do it.
Yeah. It's not a lot of writing. Like so like I don't when I started, I didn't write anything down. I just started like storyboarding and getting it out, because I tried sitting down writing a script and I just like couldn't do it. I have to see it. Mm-hmm. I have to see it at the same time. Why would I pigeonhole myself trying to picture it in my head when I can already draw, and I can just draw it out and look at it from there.
So Cold-Blooded is a pretty unique take on things. What kind of inspired you to go down this route? I mean, if you want to go ahead and give us maybe a little bit of a synopsis of what it's about, and kind of, I guess, some of your inspirations in creating it.
So my primary inspirations is Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. Although you may read it and you may not get Dragon Ball from it, especially Naruto, but there may be a time where it will be reminiscent of that. And I'm taking a lot of things I see from different anime and manga, and I'm putting it in Cold-Blooded. And Cold-Blooded is basically a shonen / seinen battle manga, which shonen meaning like for boys, but seinen also meaning like more mature. I just put it / because it can straddle the line. Stuff that's shonen isn't always strictly shonen. Stuff that's seinen isn't always.
I never really I never knew that, so I appreciate you breaking that down for me.
Yeah, like One Punch Man is seinen and Berserk is seinen, but like One Punch Man is probably more straddles the line a lot more between shonen and seinen, since it parodies shonen. And battle manga just means it's like is a kind of equivalent of a superhero comic. It's just centered around fighting and heroes and villains. And Cold-Blooded is about Rembrandt Snart, who misses his dad. And while holding out hope after his father's disappearance 5 years ago, he discovers latent reptilian abilities brought out by a shadowy figure determined to end his life.
And it starts off like really interesting. We see him on like some sort of hoverboard.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So it's a gas board, because I thought like this is like in the distant future, and I thought something would spew like a literal green gas, and that's how like pretty much all vehicles move now. And I'd rather just it's not really explained, it's just in there, but I can always retroactively explain it later. And here's where like I get my idea for it. So like in Dragon Ball and really a lot of stuff nowadays, they're what you would call a kitchen everything but the kitchen soup type of genre, meaning they have sci-fi, they have fantasy, and they mix it all together. And it's like, if you look at Dragon Ball, it's just like that. And Akira Toriyama said that he wanted to make Dragon Ball in such a way that you couldn't date it, you couldn't place, like Dragon Ball was made in the 80s, but he wanted to make it in such a way that you couldn't, by watching it, you couldn't figure out it's from the 80s. And for the most part, he does a pretty good job. Aside from like maybe some of Bulma's like hairstyles and what she wears, that's a little bit of a telltale sign. But other than that, it's like the world's so different, you won't be able to tell. I'm trying to kind of do that. It's like based on our world, but a little bit different. And so, like, instead of the capsules with Capsule Corp, it's like everything's gas powered, and there's robots, and they're like, some robots are sentient and some robots aren't. And that's one of those things that isn't really explained. It's just shown. And just like in Dragon Ball, there's like dinosaurs and there's animal people and this stuff. That stuff's never explained. Yeah, they just exist. They're just there. Of course, I do plan to explain some things. Not everything is just going to just perpetually not ever be explained.
So why have Rembrandt have like reptilian abilities? Like, what drove you to go that course of route?
To be honest, I mean, I guess like there are some animals I'm fascinated with, and I'm not like a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, but the design is somewhat inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog, and I don't know, it's a design I came up with like in middle school, and I drew it, and that was his power to turn into him. I don't really have any more explanation than that. Fine. Otherwise, it's like what I came up with, and that's like what I'm rolling with.
So give us a little bit more of a summary of Volume 1 before we go to look at the Kickstarter for Volume 2, because I don't want to spoil too much of Volume 2. And I had the chance to read both Volume 1 and 2, so I'm kind of like, I don't want to believe that line where I accidentally spoil something I'm not supposed to.
Okay, so Volume 1 is pretty much like a self-contained arc, and if I had to give it a name, maybe I'd call it the Insectoid arc or the Rembrandt origin story arc. And this is like setting up a defining moment for Rem. That's just what he's called for short. His name's Rembrandt. And Volume 2 is like where his Nakama is introduced. That is his friends, the squad that's going to roll with him. And it's going to be mostly training. There's going to be some fighting and action, but it's also going to be a setup for the next arc. So Volume 1 was a self-contained arc. The next arc is going to take place over Volumes 2 and 3. And Volume 2 is going to be like the first half of that arc, and it's going to be mostly like training and setting some things up.
No, I got you. All right, well, let's go ahead and we'll take a sneak peek at the pre-launch, and then we're going to take a look at a couple of the pages of Volume 2 and get a little bit of a breakdown with them. So right here is the pre-launch campaign. So upcoming project, Cold-Blooded Volume 2, Manga Monster Battling Monsters. Rembrandt discovers reptilian abilities after an attempt on his life by darkness while holding out hope he could still find his dad. So right here, is this Rembrandt, the man of the hour himself?
Yeah, that's a mid-transformation form. He's in the middle of transforming.
And what are we seeing about to happen right here?
So these are missiles coming at him. They're really they're very cartoony. Maybe I could have drawn them better, but when I was thinking about drawing them, I was thinking like, have you ever seen Pokemon? Like in Pokemon, the technology is like really cartoony looking and not always super realistic. So it's like these are missiles fired at him coming from these robots called the CFUs.
No, I got you.
For cylindrical flying units, or AKA the tin cans.
And for anyone that's watching, we had my girlfriend dropping in and say hi as well. Anyone that's watching, right there is the Kickstarter link. Be sure to notify on launch. It's absolutely free to sign up, and I'd like to see at least 1 or 2 followers on this campaign by the time we end.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, real quick, let's go ahead. Were you able to get those pages added, or are you still having trouble?
Well, let's see. I thought I added them. I'm trying to.
Let me go ahead and remove this. So you would go to share and then share screen, and if you go to window, that I usually find that a little bit easier.
Oh, sorry, Google is stopping me. It's that's what was stopping me.
Oh.
It's Google Chrome. I'm on Google Chrome, and it's like, oh, you have to grant permission. It's done this to me before, which I thought I've fixed it, but yeah, that's why it was stopping me.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries.
Something lock in the bottom left corner.
How's everybody in the chat doing, by the way? I hope everyone's having an awesome, fantastic night. I'm excited that we finally get a chance to kind of get face-to-face with one another. I know we've had an opportunity to talk in a couple of spaces.
Yeah. This is great. And it's inspiring listening to you in that one Twitter space. I didn't know you delivered pizza. I was like, I thought you were you're doing this like full time. How professional you are.
Oh my god, I wish. I wish. Yeah. No, you know, pizza delivery is not too bad. It's actually a lot more money than you would think, and it gives me the flexibility to do this. Yeah. So
I'm sure tips help.
I appreciate you saying that. You thought that, though. I mean, that means a lot, because like making this look professional is very important to me.
And I thought it was inspiring because you said you worked some other job before, right? Or,
phone salesman.
Yeah, and so you purposely like went to a less stressful job so you could do this. And it's like,
yeah.
And I was thinking, man, I wish I had got to do something like that. I kind of hate my job. I've actually considered, like, what if I just quit and work like retail or fast food or something like.
Well, the biggest thing is always making sure your financial situation, you're able to do it. Because you don't ever want to putting yourself in a financial burden is a different type of stress. I would almost say worse than like dealing with your job. So I was able to do it without much of worry with financial stress. Thankfully we were able to, I make almost just as much as I did doing that compared to working like a corporate job. So I don't know. I think it's out there. You kind of just have to, just start looking. That's kind of that's the step, I think, with everything, right? You still having trouble with sharing those pages?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to system preferences. This makes me wonder if I should just quit using Google Chrome, because it's done this to me before. I'm trying to find it under...
Do you have I could always let me see, maybe I could try to because you said it was in the link you sent me, right?
Yeah, starting with chapter 9.
So let me see. And that would be on the Webtoons one?
Yeah, well, Webtoon, Tapastic, or Patreon, any of them would work.
Let me see if maybe I can get it pulled up on mine. So I think what I read was just the first chapter. That would make sense, because I don't remember reading the rest of this. So which chapter would be the one for the first volume? 2.
It's gonna be chapter 9. Okay, I think I can fix it to where I can screen share.
Does this look better though? Am I on the right thing?
Oh yeah, you are.
Okay, so which one should I go to? Oh, you said 9? I didn't even see the 9. I was scrolled right here, so it was I was like, I don't see a 9. I just see names. But then
Yeah,
you pull it, boom. So right
chapter
here.
9 conundrum. Yeah. So I could fix it to where I could screen share, but I'm gonna have to exit Google Chrome and come back.
You're fine. If this is the same thing, this is no worries.
Okay.
Is this basically the same thing?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna show. So
Okay.
that's the cover for chapter 9, which is in color here, but when it's printed, it'll be in grayscale because I print it in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the interior pages are black and white.
So what's going on here? What's this thing right behind?
That's kind of like, so even though there's not a strictly one-on-one fight, there is sort of a villain, a kind of lesser villain or a pseudo villain, if you will, and and I'm gonna be kind of following that trope where the antagonist ends up becoming a member of the protagonist, Nakama.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Kind of.
So
thing.
is this Rembrandt?
No, that's his grandfather.
Okay, because I was gonna say Rembrandt's blue. Like this guy's red.
Yeah. And I like to think of him as the kind of All Might of my series, All Might or Kakashi Sensei. So in terms of like power.
So right here, this is the first page of volume 2. So we see what's going on here? We see a huge spider.
So this is opening up. This is actually like a nightmare sequence because this is after the end of volume 1, chapter 8 deals with the falling actions and resolution, right? And now he's still kind of being tortured by the events of volume 1, because this is all going to be building up to a defining moment that hasn't necessarily happened yet. They'll probably won't even happen in volume 2, but it will happen in volume 3.
So down here, I love the way you do the lettering and the words, kind of to mimic that manga style and the feel to it. So we get a nice little intro to chapter 9, and we see, is this Rembrandt stuck on the webbing?
Yeah.
And then right here's the spider saying his name, and I see it has hands too. That's pretty creepy.
yeah. I just like, it's one of those things that when I took private art lessons and like I was making a stamp or whatever, I thought, a spider with hands on the end is pretty creepy. And then when I thought of this nightmare sequence, it's like I wanted to put something creepy in it, and that's what I did. I just took that idea from another time I had. And,
so do you do this all like digitally, or is this done traditionally?
So it's done traditionally, except for like the lettering there, obviously. Now sound effects, I draw the sound effects that you were just talking about, but the lettering, the balloons are drawn, but the letters themselves, the actual text, is digital. And depending on what chapter you're on, actually, is kind of varies to how digital to traditional it is, because some of them I just use tones in Photoshop. Some of chapters I tried using Copic markers, and then later down the line I actually bought actual sticker sheets with tone on them that for traditional use off Amazon, and they're actually on the page. Usually I draw speed lines, but there's a few cases where I just use the speed lines in Clip Studio. It's like I'm still finding my footing in the process and doing different things. And to be honest, the more things I can do traditionally, the better, because it's like the less work I have to do on the computer.
Yeah.
The way I look at it.
So right here is just a little taste of volume 2. We won't spoil too much. If you guys want to check it out and find out why this fire is saying why you let me die, Rem, you're gonna have to back volume 2 and check it out. When are you going live with that campaign?
I hope to go live in like August.
Okay.
And I have one more chapter. Most of it's done, and you read most of it, except Chapter 13, of course, is just behind a paywall for $3. But when Chapter 13 is done, then Chapter 14, which is what I'm currently working on, when it is finished, that will cap off the end of Volume 2.
I gotcha.
And then I'll be ready to start gearing up to launch.
My man Perry, for anyone that is out there that's on the fence about backing or being notified, I mean, you got a couple months till you go live, but even, you know, I'm sure this video will still be somewhat useful then. Like, for anyone that's out there that's still on the fence about getting notified or back, and what would you like to say to them about supporting your cause?
For me, I'd say give it a chance, because you might end up liking it. And I know, like, art can be a barrier for some people. For me personally, when I look at a comic, art is not a barrier for me. Even though there's been times where I looked at art and I thought, oh, it's not really my kind of art. But then I start reading the story and I get into it. Mm-hmm. And I think if you get in on my series early on and keep with it, the continuity will make it very rewarding.
So how long are you planning on taking this series? You said you threw around Volume 3, but I mean, is there a possibility for it to stretch longer?
Oh, yeah. I would love it to go way longer, because the series is going to be nowhere near finished by Volume 3. But I need to get them done faster and start cranking them out a lot sooner. And the only reason it's took me this long is because I spent time re-lettering Volume 1 and most of Volume 2.
Hey, I'm sure it was worth it, though. You know, was that something that was like bugging you and you had to get done?
It was bugging me, because I don't want to be, there's nothing I want more than success. And if something's holding me back from success, I need to do that and take care of it.
Yeah. Hey, much respect to that. That's like, that's a big mentality that I have for stuff. Like you said yourself, like you thought I was financially doing this all like paid, and I'm doing almost all of this 100% free. I didn't like I made like maybe like a couple bucks here and there from like Ko-Fi or coffee. I don't know why I said Ko-Fi, but they just started throwing. I had a couple buddies like, you should start doing this for a part of what I do for money, and I was like mind blown. I was like, really? Like, I didn't even think. So yeah, I appreciate that you said, you know, it looks so professional. That's what you thought. Like, no, that'd be cool. Ideally, like if I can get to a point in life where it's like funding backing, like instead of me paying out of pocket, like Keeping It Geekly is able to self-sufficiently back campaigns, that would be cool for me. But you know, I'm not holding my breath. I'm gonna keep putting in the same amount of work and effort I am right now, you know?
Yeah, that's really inspiring. You've been able to do it like frequently, because that's like the biggest hurdle is just doing something on a regular basis. Because like you just have to do it and do it a lot to get anywhere.
For let's go ahead and finish this strong. For anyone that's out there that's struggling to get their own manga off the ground and to get started with their own, you know, their own cold blood story, what type of advice would you give them to kind of just get started and to go? As someone who just started, you know, without experience, and you created Volume 1 and Volume 2, you know, you self-taught yourself how to do writing and art. So like, as someone who's done all that, what type of advice would you give someone who's like just starting out?
I'm not of the opinion that you will ever arrive at a state where you are ready. It's like, you know, you're either going to do it or you're not. And if you're, you know, always stuck in the talking stage or the preparing stage, like I'm not ready, you know, stop. You're ready. The only way you're going to get anything done is to just go out and do it. And there's going to be mistakes. And if you need advice, you can hit me up. You know, there's one creator on Twitter, actually, I gave him some, you know, I basically sort of edited for him, but I gave him some advice on like lettering, and he actually appreciated it.
Oh, and that's so cool.
You know, just fact, if you're watching this podcast or anything, shows you're soaking up information and learning, which is good. That's a first step. And then, you know, eventually you can only learn so much stuff before you all start hearing the same stuff, because a lot of it will run together. You'll hear so much of the same stuff before you know what you'll need to do. You just need to go out and do it.
Absolutely. Well, Perry, I really appreciate that. This has been such an awesome breakdown. I had an idea of what to expect with Cold Blood, but like when I read it, I was just fully immersed with it. I love it, and I can't wait to see what you do with Volume 2 and Volume 3. With that being said, guys, it is a perfect time for us to wrap things up. This is a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, and I'm going to finish it strong by spending some time with my family, watching a movie, and hopefully maybe getting some popcorn and ice cream in. So, yeah, with that being said, Perry, thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully we see you again when Volume 3 pops out, too.
Yeah, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, let's go. So, guys, everyone in the chat, have a fantastic night, but most importantly, keep it geekly.